bullet journaling ideas, and in the little packet is a little journal and a gel pen. And then you can go online and they have a video. You have to log in with your library, with the card number, and then watch a video for the ideas on the bullet journaling. And I think next month is going to be on calligraphy. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Good monthly crafts. Next is school. Thanks to everyone who helped with the Ox Roast. It was another successful, very fun weekend. The weather was great this year, which was fabulous. And then we have homecoming coming up, so that's always an exciting time in Grandview Heights. And that's what I got for the school. All right, moving on, chamber.
Yeah, the biggest news for the chamber, they had a leadership change. So Katie Ellis has taken over as president and CEO from David Polakowski. He stepped down mid-September to pursue another opportunity. They did have two business roundtables in August. Several of us were able to attend some of those. They do, I think they had a good experience with that and are planning some of them in the future. When those come up, I'll report that back here.
If I may, Katie is actually a resident of Grandview Heights.
Wonderful. Go Grandview. All right, planning commission. Panzer is not here. Is there any new occurrence that you would like to add?
Well, the biggest, I don't remember if there was a case, but the biggest thing on the agenda was the area plan for this area, essentially the far west, forget what we're calling it, far west end of Goodale.
Goodale, mixed use quarter, Goodale West.
Yes. And the planning commission adopted that, some really good insight. We're very happy with the plan and the principle, and certainly the community feedback was great, gave us great insight. I know that the director will give council a presentation. I'm not sure if that's on deck for tonight or another time, but that was the good thing.
Code advisory panel met last Tuesday, 27th. Unfortunately, they're still contracting runs various routes due to lack of bus drivers. Nothing that really affects anymore the routes in Grandview, such as 75, 31, etc. And they're continuing to move forward with the Link Us, linking the corridors of the city, what affects as the northwest corridor, where Grandview will be part of that. That's continuing to go forward. As you may have seen in Director Calker's report, that she's continuing to meet with them and the planning of that program as well. That's all I have.
I do have a question on that. What's the timeline on that now, since it was not on the ballot? Is there any?
Well, that's different than that was just primarily a levy that I think that was for overall funding, and there's no, it just won't be on this year. They probably will bring it up next year, whether it be spring, the primary or general, I'm not sure, but it's still pretty up in the air.
Okay.
I'll double check on that and try to get specifics.
That would be great. Thank you. Any other questions? Next we have Worksy Summit on Sustainability next week. All of the kids will be there. If you'd like to go, please let Layla know and she'll get you signed up. Next we have Destination Grandview.
I was unable to attend the most recent meeting. I do know some notable items. The last Grandview Hop was completed. Was that last weekend? I lost on track of time. Week before last. And that Destination Grandview did work with Experience Columbus to get 2 Grandview area pizza places on the newly minted Columbus Pizza Trail. That's an app, much like the Distillery Trail. And then I'm going to shoot it over to Director Biller if she has any other items of note to add.
Brian completed an update of the visitor guides, which include a map, and he's going to produce a standalone map
from that visitor guide, and he's gonna give it out to businesses and the hotels. The hotels always need a map to give people to show different businesses in town. I'd say that's the other big thing from the last week.
Great. Do you know which pizza places we're adding?
Granddad's and Panera's, I think, are the two, like, in our area. And then there's a bunch from all over the city.
Awesome. All right, Sustainable 26.
Yes, the last meeting was held on September 16th, and the group heard from Power Clean Future Ohio on the costly climate report, which I've talked with you all a little bit about. And then the Sustainability Summit, President Keeler has mentioned. I will be there on a panel at 2:30 p.m. Alongside Matt Huffman with Clinton Township and Jeff Wilkins of Swigo, and I'll be lifting up some of our sustainability work here in Grandview Heights. And I will be getting that those materials, kind of talking points and slides, over to you all, the administration, to give me some feedback, hopefully by the end of this week, about a week in advance. So that sounds okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor's report.
Madam President. We've got two items on the agenda later. One is a market adjustment for the magistrate's salary. We have a long-standing, somebody who's known to many of you, Brian Cook, used to be our city attorney many years ago. Got a full-time job and resigned, and I had about 2 weeks to fill it. And I think we knew that the salary was below market, and it hasn't been updated for 5 years. So that's on the agenda tonight. I've appointed Kylie Keach. She is going to be wonderful. The other item is regarding our project that we hope to get funded if the voters approve, and it's to expedite selection of the team. And so we'll talk more about that in order. Just wanted to call those out because they're relevant to what's going on. The Fairview bid package went out. Leaf pickup is starting today. For you all and your constituents, the 311 system, we've got an app. I think you all probably downloaded it or know about it at least. It centralizes all our notices. We've had a lot of downloads, but we've had fewer people actually opting in and selecting to actually utilize it. So you know how that goes. It's easy to make a couple clicks and then you maybe lose interest or get distracted and never follow through. So that's important that people do. We appreciate some help getting the word out on that. Finally, the Chiefs gave a fantastic tour of the building in September. We have done 3 video segments that are essentially a virtual tour with some narration, the 2 chiefs and me. Those are all on the website, and people asked really interesting, good questions, and we expect even more. And the community's invited next Tuesday at 6:30, October 11th, for the second tour and information session. Obviously for issue 32, I mentioned that, but I know you all know that's what I'm talking about.
Thank you. Other questions for the mayor? I just have one clarification. When you're talking about the app, do you want people to select the different notification settings?
Well, you have to create an account. So
Oh, okay.
you can download it and then never create an account, and then you don't get any
All right,
notifications.
so people should make their account.
Make the most of it.
Okay. Awesome. Very good, thank you for that clarification. Director Dvorsky, Director of Operations, report.
As the mayor said, we've been focusing a lot on the project and communication pieces. And Mayor, was it today that we got a piece on the TV?
I heard that was coming, but I haven't seen it.
They were on site at 5:30.
Is
Oh,
it going to
really?
be broadcast today?
I believe so.
So I believe it's Channel 4 that is doing a segment, and they should have been on the 6 o'clock news and probably 11 o'clock news, I would imagine. So you might want to check that out.
NBC.
NBC, yes. Otherwise, operationally, we seem to be doing well. You know, since the mayor took office, we meet with the department heads every week, if not every 2 weeks for sure, every week. And we meet with them regularly too, as a group together. And they're really working well as a whole now, not as separate entities. And that's highlighted in the fire chief's report, the service director had a couple of extra these little buggies, the Gators and Kubotas, and just reached out to Mike Patterson of Parks and Rec and the fire chief for his doing the hydrants in the spring. And so the groups are working together well of moving equipment around as they become surplus in your area to see if other people want it. And that's a good reflection of the teamwork that's going on amongst the department heads. So we've worked hard on instilling that in department heads over the last couple of years, and it seems to be working. A couple of weeks from now, the mayor and I will be sitting down with department heads and finance going over the 2023 budget request. So pretty full slate over the next month or so.
Thank you. Any questions for the director? Moving on, Director of Finance.
Yes, I had preliminary budget meetings with all the departments to kind of go through what they're thinking to help them cost everything out. Everybody is very respectful of our income tax situation and our priorities for the new facility going forward. So I think that it will be an easy budget somewhat. We won't all get what we want, but everybody is working together. Income tax, we continue to be down. We're down 5.77% in October. Hotel tax, though, is rebounding little by little. So we're in a very similar situation as last month. Everything seems to be going fine.
Any questions for the director? All right, moving on, Director Poker, Planning and Community Development.
Yep, a few highlights. On the Tri-Village Chamber, the Econ Dev committee met, and I had already talked to Katie about this, but just sort of talked to the whole committee about including, or specifically targeting, West Clinton Township businesses to include in the Tri-Village Chamber catch area. They really already are, but because the mission of the Tri-Village extends beyond the borders of the three villages, specifically to the sort of the area, Grandview area. So anyway, they're going to be doing that as a way of growing their membership and kind of increasing their revenue. They're excited about that. Let's see, I included some visuals this month so that you guys could follow along at home a little bit. On the area plan specifically that the mayor mentioned, there's a snippet in there of it that kind of covers the salient features really. So the planning commission members did vote to adopt that as an amendment to the previously adopted area plan. So that will just be attached to that plan as an area plan now, and we're going to continue doing that until we get them all built out. Let's see, the status of the facilities projects. We have final contracts, at least final on our side, from or for both the McKinley new Grandview Center project and for the owner's rep, and Bricker is hard at work on the one for the new municipal building. So those are all in process. We're working on getting a standing meeting time for all of those folks. It's hard to organize, 20 people to be in the same place consistently, so we're kind of working on organizational stuff right now. There's been some specific orders made. I don't have timing on them yet, but for survey work and borings work at the park, so that'll be happening coming up soon. Included also as another visual in your in my report is a little bit of outtake from the CODA Link Us plan, where they're talking about the north and south knots. The north knot is where Olentangy goes under the bridge by Lennox, and the south knot is the spaghetti that we have down here on the south end of Goodale and Twin Rivers. There's just some little bit of diagram in there to speak to how those might be amended over time, and that the city of Columbus has hired a consultant to actually work on the north knot actively, so there is movement there that will impact Lennox at a certain moment. Let's see, I know the Econ Dev plan does continue. It is fitting all the different things in snatches makes certain things go a little slower than I'd like. This is certainly one of them, but it is making progress. Let's see, the Gen Z, an interesting thing happened there, which is that the what is called the Connect Housing Blocks project over on the Schottenstein site. Appears to have been funded essentially through by Columbus through the Franklin County Finance Authority, without any participation of the township or the city, and that property will remain in Clinton Township, 300 new jobs there. Excuse me. I think, this just is helping them meet their goal generally for affordable housing. So that was the synergy there, as well as the property is in the City of Columbus School District, so the increase in real estate tax is still benefiting the City of Columbus, if you will, through their school system. So it's just interesting to see how some of these things play out, to understand how it's all kind of overlapping and different people benefiting. Let's see, Grandview Crossing, interesting little tidbit there as well. The new community authority that governs that development. Megan and I went, as well as Steve Papano, to the board meeting they had last month, and they were setting, so that the board, it's a formal process. They were setting rates for, they're buying water wholesale from Columbus and then selling it at our retail rates, City of Grandview Heights retail rates, to all of their tenants, or all of their buildings, really all their properties. And the split there, they're using to fund a fund that they'll collect money in to provide for maintenance and repairs over time. So they're really, acting as in good faith as a sort of quasi-public entity, and making sure that that development will be well taken care of over time. It was fun to hear some of the details. And just so you know that we haven't forgot about it, we are working on that 1217 Grandview Avenue sidewalk. It's gonna get done someday.
Thank you. Any questions for the director? I look forward to seeing the site. Next city attorney report, Suzanne.
Mr. Keeley, we have a report to you, and we have to answer any questions.
Any questions? Moving on to business item number 1.
Ordinance 2022-17, an ordinance to amend chapters 303 and 351 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Grandview Heights and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Council, or Chair, or Mayor Kearns, do you have anything to add to this?
We just made a small amendment from the floor at the last meeting. I just wanted to clarify the circumstances in which police can tow a vehicle in the event that there was not enough time to put up signage. There's a rare occasion where a car could possibly be on a road and that would need to be towed when there hasn't been an event planned. So we just cleaned that up a little bit, made sure that we included language that said that the vehicle constitutes an obstruction or hazard to public safety, just so that there's some reasoning behind it. Not that I think that our police officers would just go towing vehicles for fun, but made sure to put some language in there that would help clarify the situations where that would occur. Otherwise, not much else to expound upon.
Thank you. Your committee had a recommendation.
We did. We recommend to approve.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
On the memorandum, on number 5, it says, is it being passed as an emergency? And it says no. But then it does say it is on the other pages.
I believe we addressed that in our last meeting, I think. We can just make an amendment from the floor for the cover sheet. If anyone would like to.
The cover sheet doesn't need to be amended, and go ahead and cross it out if you like keeping track of these things, but the cover sheet doesn't constitute any official action. Thank you for pointing that out.
And it's typical when it's ordinances like that, that around safety, that it would be passed as emergency, correct?
Yep.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Motion?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Edwards.
Yes.
Hatsaputinos.
Yes.
Houston.
Yes.
Kozak.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
President Keeler.
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-20 has been approved.
Thank you. Business item number 2.
I said 20, I'm sorry, 17. Ordinance 2022-17 has been approved.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2022-18, an ordinance to approve supplemental appropriations for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022.
Thank you. Chair Smith, your committee met.
Yes, we met before the last meeting, and the committee recommended approval of council. Just to highlight just a few things real quick, and Director Miller could elaborate if I missed anything glaring, but it's mainly, it's an increase, it's a supplemental appropriation due to increased fuel costs, primarily with the departments that use diesel. Increased money needed for income tax refunds, increase in that. That's primarily related to the work from home and the RETA fees that accompany that, as well as contracting the Grandview Yard pilots a bit, increasing the Jet Z funds, the administrative costs associated with that. And the total comes to appropriation or a supplemental of $369,049.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or questions? Motion?
I would move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Hatsapatinos? Yes. Houston?
Yes.
Kozak?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
President Keeler.
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-18 has been approved.
Thank you. Moving on to business item number 1.
Ordinance 2022-20, an ordinance amending Chapter 171.03 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Grandview Heights, Ohio, entitled Compensation of Mayor's Court Magistrate and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Chair Smith, would you like to speak on this?
Yeah, this is increasing the hourly rate for magistrates. Mayor spoke to this briefly. I do have an amendment for this I'd like to bring from the floor on section 1. Well, it's increasing the rate from to $150 an hour. And in section 1, we have, the text says $125 an hour, and then numerically it's got 150, so we need to change the text to 150.
The version I have says 150.
Mine says 125.
Mine does too.
Mine too. 125.
Special
The words versus the numbers.
Right.
Oh, the words.
Oh,
Okay.
right, the text or
Gotcha.
words, yeah.
So they
The numerals are correct.
all right, that's an amendment. Any discussion?
I have the same thing on this number 5 about it not being, it says no, it's not an emergency, like I don't.
Well,
have to
actually, I was
be-
gonna bring that up as well in a second.
Let's deal with the amendment first.
Yeah.
If there's no discussion on the amendment, is there a motion?
I move to amend.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, that's a motion and second to amend section 1 for the spelling out of the amount to say $150 instead of the $125. Clerk, please call the roll.
Houston?
Yes.
Kozak?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes.
Hatsapatinos?
Yes.
President Keeler.
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-20 has been amended.
Thank you. Chair Smith, if you wanted to address.
Yeah. Couple of things here, and this is kind of similar to what Councilmember Kozak was speaking about the previous ordinance, and this is kind of a question to city attorney. It does not have the title, the cover sheet does not have this an emergency measure, and the language speaks to it being an emergency measure in section 3, as well as the administration would like to suspend the rules and pass this evening, and that's not on the cover as well. Do we need to do that?
No, it's again not a problem because the cover sheet is really just informational feel free to correct it. So number 5 should say yes, and number 6 should also say yes. The mayor has requested that we have this before you for no more than 2 readings. If you would like to pass it sooner, I'm sure she wouldn't be too upset about that either, because we've actually had to proceed with the appointment of Ms. Keach because our magistrate has already started his other job, or our former magistrate, I should say. So we'd like to have her available for the next sitting of Mayor's Court.
Mayor Kearns, would you like to?
Yes. Thank you, if I may. The magistrate actually started last Tuesday, and there will be court next Tuesday. And so I pretty passionately like to treat people well, whether they're employees or contractors of the city, and follow through with what I represented to her that we would be paying her. She knows that I had come before council, but I did represent, my intent was to request passage at the earliest convenience. This was an oversight, miscommunication on my part to the person that prepared this.
For the rate of higher fee, is that in line with other municipalities?
Yes, the magistrate actually did quite a bit of homework, and she acts as magistrate in a number of other communities, and brought information to us that indicated that most of the communities are substantially higher than where we were. So we've provided ourselves a little bit of cushion so that we don't have to come back before you if and when the rate needs to be adjusted again.
She's actually the lowest among all the other communities that we researched. This is a limited pool of people. You have to have certain qualifications and certain kind of interest in doing this for generally suburban municipalities. So there's not a huge pool of people either.
So 150, it's a max of 150,
Yes.
but we're not at that max.
Right.
Are there any other questions?
Just for the record, what was our previous hourly rate?
95.
Okay.
And it hasn't been updated for 5 years, and it's definitely on the market.
Okay.
Any questions? So if I'm hearing correctly, your preference would be to suspend the rules and pass it this evening.
That is my request.
Is there discussion on suspending the rules?
I would move for a full suspension.
You, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, clerk, please call the roll.
Kozak,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Katsipinos,
Yes.
Houston,
Yes.
President Keeler.
Yes.
The rules for ordinance 2022-20 have been suspended.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on this or any motion?
I would move to approve as amended.
Second.
Thank you, that's a motion and second, clerk, please call the roll.
Smith,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Katsipinos,
Yes.
Houston,
Yes.
Kozak,
Yes.
President Keeler.
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-20 has been approved as amended.
Thank you. Motion to our new magistrate. Moving on, new business item number 2.
Ordinance 2022-21, an ordinance to amend codified ordinance 161.02 of the city of Grandview Heights, Ohio, to include a design professional selection process that provides the city with flexibility and efficiency in selecting design professionals in public works projects.
Thank you, Mayor Kearns. This is your legislation.
Thank you. As I mentioned at the last meeting, time is money, particularly in an inflationary risk environment that we're in. Also, we, generally speaking, as a small organization, don't always have a well-worn path to select professionals for smaller projects. And there's public contracting rules, but there are also exceptions to those that are outlined in the code. And because we're a charter city, we do have a fair amount of flexibility to create our own process. So that is what we're recommending doing here, to create flexibility and efficiency for us in selecting design professionals for public works projects. And just generally speaking, it's always a combination of cost and quality. I'll just put it like that. there are situations particularly where you're talking about the, professional services, you don't want to go with the lowest bidder necessarily, you want to select based on quality, with, certainly reasonable cost. And this is